focus on clean energy continues to propel the rare earths market to new heights. And as the world's reliance on China for supply gradually eases, it opens up opportunities for other mineral-rich jurisdictions to fill the void. Now worth approximately $175 a tonne, China's global output of rare earths decreased dramatically in the past decade, from a shade under 100% to 60% by the end of 2021. And in that time, Australia has emerged as more than just a bit player in the sector. It's against this backdrop that companies such as Godolphin Resources are seizing on the rare earths opportunity. Godolphin has announced a farm-in and joint venture agreement to earn up to 75% interest in the Narrowbar rare earths element project in central west New South Wales. And for more on the project, I'm joined by Managing Director Jeneta Owens. Jeneta, welcome to InvestorStream for the first time. As I just mentioned, you've entered into a farm-in to earn up to 75% in Narraburra. Firstly, can you just talk us through the process that led you to farming into this particular project?
Yeah, okay. Hi, Alex, and thanks for talking to me today. So we actually had been looking at this for quite a while. So we recognised we've got a great tenement package at Godolphin, and one of the reasons about being strategically placed where we are, we're only 7.5 kilometres from the very large Dubbo Zirconia project, which is quite well known and probably one of the largest rare earth projects in Australia that's owned by Australian Strategic Materials. And being just 7.5 kilometres from our own tenement package, we figured we should do some due diligence and have a look within our own tenements whether there was any potential for rare earths or rare metals within our own tenement package and within our own data. So we did a data mining exercise there and started looking throughout our tenement package. And while we were doing this, this project actually came up and was recognised and identified. So we obviously made some calls because we could see they hadn't done a lot of work recently, and to see where they were at and whether it would be a good synergy for Godolphin. Obviously, critical minerals are vitally important for not just Australia, but the world. So having a critical minerals process or program within our own package of work is really, really important and a great step forward for Godolphin. We're really interested in green metals. Obviously, most people think of us as a gold or a copper gold explorer, and this just aligns really well with that. Green metals also include metals within our portfolio. So copper and zinc are really, really sought after in that green metal space as well. So we really see this as a great synergy with our tenement package that we already have. There's also a lot of federal and state support for critical minerals in New South Wales. The state government here has actually recently announced a critical minerals hub to be located near Dubbo, and that's something that we'd like to get on the back of as well. So there's real government and local support for developing these projects.
Thanks, Jeneta. Now, before we get into the specifics of your plans for Narrowbar, can you just give us a high-level overview of the project?
Yeah, sure. So Narrowbar was first identified in the late 90s, and they did do quite a lot of exploration at that point in time. So there's been geophysics done, there's been a lot of geochemistry from surface samples as well as RC and air core drilling. There's even been some metallurgical test work that's been done on the project that in the early stages have said that they can actually produce an economic product that can be sold, which is fantastic. There is an existing resource, but it's only a JORC 2004 compliant, which means that it just isn't suitable for today's standards. So they've actually identified 73.2 million tonnes of, we're talking 1,250 grams per tonne zirconium. So that's zirconium oxide. We've got 327 grams per tonne of rare earth oxide and a whole bunch of rare metals that we haven't really spoken about. And they're vitally important. So we're talking yttrium, niobium, gallium, hafnium, and as well as lithium, which are really sought after in battery metals and green technologies. The minerals themselves are hosted within a fractionated per alkaline granite. And basically it's the weathered product of this granite. So we're talking very soft sediments that actually enriched in these rare earth and rare metals. And it really makes for quite easy mining, open cut, quite shallow, and so near to surface, so cheap mining methods. The rocks are the same age as Australian Strategic Minerals project there at Dubbo. So we have an affinity there as well. And being really flat lying, it's going to make for a very easy project development pipeline.
Thanks, Jeneta. Now, some shareholders may see this agreement as a deviation from your current copper-gold focus. How does the Narraburra Rare Earths project fit into the company's overall strategy moving forward?
Yeah, so as I did mention before, we did investigate this within our own tenement package that we have already. And we understood, and we do understand, that there's a real need for ethically sustainable green metals. You know, we are looking at this future of battery technologies, so battery cars, wind turbines, all of these products that require these strategic metals. And, you know, in line with that, copper and zinc, as I mentioned, are a really big part of that. So most people, when they think about strategic or critical metals, they forget about things that we've already been exploring for, but they're a critical path in this way forward for these technologies. So Australia is one of the 6th largest in the world producer of copper. So we still want to be a part of that because it's still a part of the green technologies. We see this transition as future-proofing Godolphin Resources. We're exposing ourselves to a larger commodity range, and this green metals is really a way of the future for most exploration companies or mining companies and technology companies. So what Godolphin is aiming to do is to be a full-service supplier for these green metals or rare metals, and be able to supply the full product from copper and zinc and other products that are traditionally explored for in the Lachlan Fold Belt, along with these rare metals and rare earth elements.
And finally, Jeneta, as you outlined in the release, there's been considerable work already done on the project. What are your immediate plans for Narrowbar, and what's the timeline here?
Yeah, so you're right, Alex. There has been a significant amount of work done. Geophysics, drilling, geochemistry, and I did talk about some of the network before, you know, and that's really, really positive because it means we're starting off on the right foot. But because we are a company that I've talked about before, have a discovery thinking attitude, when we were looking at what had been done previously, we noticed that a lot of the drill holes actually finished in the highest grades. So for us, that's just a real opportunity to be able to increase the resource thickness as well as size. The drilling is quite wide space, so being able to bring that in, we'll be able to firm up a resource and maybe look for a sweet spot. The other side of things is also being able to update the resource. So we'll do some drilling, and that will start as soon as we can get approvals, so that's land access and also government approvals. And we would design the drilling to confirm some of the previous drill holes, so that will provide certainty to the results that have been had previously. The next step will be to infill and increase the size of the resource, and we'll work towards actually updating the mineral resource estimate to a modern day JORC code compliant resource. You know, and that's going to give us immediate value, and that will also see us towards controlling interest in the project.
Thanks, Jeneta. Really appreciate you joining me. All the best for your programs at Narrowbar and your other projects as well, and we look forward to chatting soon. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Alex.